Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, today we are going to discuss my theory, or I guess I should say, my grandmother's theory. Before she passed away, she always used to talk about this whole idea of not waiting until you get into the night to try to look for and to recognize things that you already can see in the daytime. So I'm going to break that down for you. And by the way, I'm calling it the flashlight theory, right? So it's called the flashlight theory, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So you might be wondering, what the heck is the flashlight theory? So sometimes, when we meet people, we're so impressed by them, we're so infatuated with who they are, that we're seeing signs and symbols of things that we should be paying attention to. Maya Angelou would usually call that, or Maya Angelou would say about that, when someone shows you who they are, believe them, right? So that's how Maya Angelou, as you know, great American poet, passed away a couple of years ago. She would say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. My grandmother would say, when you recognize things in the daytime, why are you waiting until the nighttime to take a flashlight to go looking for it? It's the same thing. It's not going to change. And as a matter of fact, it might actually get worse. So let's kind of just break that down a little bit. So, a lot of times you'd hear women would say, this person ain't no good, or he's no good, or, this guy, he's a dog, or he's this, or he's whatever the case is. And you're seeing these actions right in front of you, and a lot of times in increments, right? Usually when we get to know people, I always say that a lot of people are on their best behavior for like the first 6 months. And then after a while, you start seeing little cracks in the armor of pretense that they might be wearing, right? So if they're really one of those people that are just really pretending to be nice, I think a lot of times when after the first 6 months or after the first year, after they've been on their best behavior, you start seeing little bit of crack in the armor that they're wearing, the pretense armor that they have on. And so you start seeing them starting to do certain things, and a lot of times we don't pay attention to those little things because we think, you know, because we don't want them to be bad because we love them so much. We don't want them to be wrong because we like them so much, because we're so infatuated with them. And so imagine if someone is showing you these signs in the daytime, right? Which means you're seeing them. And that's what the daytime really is. You're seeing the stuff in front of your eyes. Why are you waiting until the twilights of the relationship, later on into the relationship, to take flashlights? No, you're searching and looking for stuff that you've been seeing all this time. And if someone is bad in the day, just imagine how bad that person can be in the night, right? If someone is bad in the daytime, then just imagine how bad someone can be in the night. And so that's why my grandmother always used to say, why are you waiting until the nighttime to take a flashlight to go looking for something that you clearly see in the daytime? In other words, it's always been visible to you, but some people pretend they don't see what's in front of them because they don't want to deal with the reality of the situation. And so when the man or woman turns out to be a terrible person, right? It's not like you didn't know it. It's not like you didn't see it. But for whatever reason, you couldn't accept it because you didn't want it to be true. And so now you're left in a situation a lot of times where you're miserable. You're completely unhappy with the existence of that person within your space. But a lot of times you have no one but yourself to blame because you encouraged it in increments. You saw the deceit in increments and you encouraged it. You saw the lies in increments and you encouraged it. You saw signs of cheating and infidelity in increments and you encouraged it. And so why are you now trying to play you're going to go look for it when it's always been in front of your face? You just didn't want to accept it, because accepting it would have meant that you were disappointed. Accepting it would have meant that all the high hopes you have for this person would have just faded away, when all you needed to do was to recognize the reality that was in front of you. And that's a lot of us struggle with that. It's difficult for us to recognize the reality that's facing us because we don't want to deal with reality. A lot of times we want to create this fairy tale. It's like one of those TV shows where people are looking for love and stuff is supposed to magically just kind of fall in place, and you're supposed to live in this fantasy world type of stuff. And so sometimes we're so caught up in our fantasies that we can't recognize the reality that is right in front of our face. So as I said, that's what Maya Angelou would say, right? When someone shows you who they are, believe them, because that is who they are. And you cannot change people. People have to want to change on their own. It is not your responsibility to change someone. You can support someone, but if somebody wants to change, they are going to do that on their own. And then after a while, if you're not seeing any change, then you've already seen who they are in their daylight. You've seen their character. You've seen their personality. You've seen their traits. They have shown you what they need to show you, and it's up to you to make a decision. So why have you ended up in a situation where you found yourself in the twilights of a relationship, hurting, in pain, in this, and whatever the case is, because you didn't want to accept things where they were for what they were and deal with the reality at that time, and you find yourself in a difficult situation. So let me know your thoughts, right? Have you seen stuff in the daylight? Have you seen actions or behaviors from someone and you ignored it because you thought, I really like this person, so you want it to be wrong. You don't want them to be like that because you like them, but that is who they are. It's one thing about who you want someone to be versus who that person really is, and you got to deal with who they are, not who you would like them to be. So please leave your comments. Please subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your post notifications. Please don't forget to share and hit the like button. And until next time, peace.